Hi, this is SandyB with the 90 Day Win Podcast, episode 19. Come get your wins every 90 days. I am so excited to share with you the 90 Day Win Podcast, where we talk to regular people living their goals, achieving their goals a quarter at a time. This episode on the 90 Day Win Podcast, we talk with Goal Getter Denodra Johnson. She shares with us how she raised a winner. Her son, Kenwar Johnson, was on episode 18. So if you missed that, you would want to go back and hear it. But this is her story, raising her winners, Kenwar, and her other kids, and why it's important to continue to move forward even in the face of trials or obstacles. So this is the Goal Getter story of how you raise winners on the 90 Day Win Podcast. Hello. Today I have a very special goal getter here that I'm talking to. And you heard on our previous podcast, I had her goal getter winning son, my nephew, on the show. So it's only right that I bring on my goal getting younger sister, who sometimes I definitely feel is my older sister because she gives me such amazing advice. Welcome, Denodra, to the 90 Day Win Podcast.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. And my
So
son.
well, of course, I had to because he rocks. We have to get right in because I know quite a lot of people are impressed to hear your son, Kenwar, talk about his life and what he wants to do. It seems like he literally was born a winner. Tell me about your experience in being his mama.
Well, my experience with being his mom is I always wanted a baby. I always wanted a baby boy. I wanted 2 boys and 1 girl, and God blessed me with 2 boys and 1 girl. And I
Yes.
remember when I was younger, I went through something where I thought I was not going to be able to have kids because I had bad menstrual cycle. I was in a hospital for like a week, and when people are talking around you, you never know what's going to happen. So I never thought I was going to have a child. So when God blessed me with him, I just knew he was going to be something. And I just knew there's something in a name. So when I named my son, it was thought out. My husband's name is Yusef, and his middle name is Anwar. And my favorite uncle and one of my favorite cousins, both one was named Kennard and one was named Kenneth. And Kenneth means handsome. And war means a warrior. So Kenwar, I put it together, handsome warrior. And his middle name is Emmanuel. And Emmanuel means God in us and God
Yes.
with us.
Yes.
So I just knew that he was going to be something. I wanted him to start out with something great, So being his mom, was just a joy. I just loved him, big cheeks. He was just his weight and everything was just great. He was in a 90 percentile when he was 1. He was in a 90 percentile. Everything was good. We moved down to Florida to be near to our family. So we were looking for a home. Everything was great. And my son started feeling sick, and we all saw it. That's why, it does take a village. My sister saw it. My mother saw it. I saw it to make me know that something was wrong. I went to the doctor. The doctor said my son was teething. I was just like, no, something's wrong with him. And they kind of told me that I was a new mom and I was overreacting. So, around Christmas time, I was still living with my sister, and my family, my husband, me, and my baby were all living with my sister. And, God knows and he sees and he blesses, we came down there to be together. and we were looking for a home, but our family from Philadelphia was like, they wanted to see us. Most of my husband's family is from there. So we went to go see them. And, we were on the plane and this lady was like, "Ooh, how old is your son?" And I told her he was 18 months. And she looked at him. She's like, "He looks so small." And I remember the 90 percentile that he was in. And I looked at him again and I was like, "Yo, I know I'm not wrong," but we got off the plane. We went to see our family. My grandfather was going through cancer. We went to see him. We went to see my mother in law. We were staying over at her house because it was just Christmas time. We all get together. It's a tradition of ours. Like, to know our family is to know we're rich in tradition. So I went to go bathe him and I saw a lump on his stomach. And I was just like, this is what, like, when you see those pictures of children in Africa and you see their belly extend, that's
Yes.
kind of like what it looked like. And then one side was really flat. And I remember him having gas. And I was just like, okay, God, don't make me be overreacting. I remember the doctor telling me he's just teething. You're overreacting. So I was like, I'm not overreacting about this. I pressed on his stomach. I felt the bump even more. I went downstairs. I told my husband, his dad was still there from dropping us off from the plane. I told his mom, my husband, he goes through things also. So he was just like, baby, I'm so tired from the flight. And then his dad was like, D, you might be overreacting. And, his mom was like, she might not be, and that gave me my push to be like, no. So we ended up going to Chestnut Hill Hospital. I remember handing my baby over, and as a mom, you're supposed to protect your child.
Yeah.
So handing somebody over, even if you're a doctor, I'm the doctor. I'm Dr. Mom. I can kiss it. It's going to be okay. Like, I love you. Mwah, it's okay. See, we fell down. It wasn't one of those, like, I couldn't kiss that bump. So they took him, they were taking his temperature, touching him all over. Like, I wanted to stand up and scream and be like, let him go, leave him alone. But, it was just like, you know what? I heard in my head, like, my granny used to pray for me, but I heard in my head, be still and know that I am God. So I had to still be still there and let them do what they did. So the one doctor, he came up to me and he was like, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, you need to take your son immediately to CHOP. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, we just now came off the plane.
Yeah.
So I'm like, immediately to CHOP? He was like, yes. When I looked him in the eyes, because I'm a direct person, I'm gonna
Yeah.
look you in the eyes. Now I'm like, wake up, okay? You were still now, wake up. It's time to wake up. So I looked him in the eyes, and he looked like he was gonna cry, and he was like, you have to go now. And my husband was like, oh, he was like, all this stuff and all this weight. He was like, please, I just need. He's like, can we just take him home? He was like, if you don't take him, we're going to take him right now and put him in an ambulance, and you're going to follow us to CHOP.
Hmm. Hmm.
So he was like, I'm giving you your time now to hug your baby and love on him.
Lord.
So we jumped in our car. Yusef's brother Desmond was with us. He drove us. My car's in Florida. like,
Yes. Yes.
like, I had a great life in Virginia. I just wanted to be near my family. How is this happening?
Yeah.
But we sat in Children's Hospital. We waited. They sat us down. They were with us. I went to go get my husband and his brother coffee because, I was just like, I got to do something. I'm a mover too. I'm directing. I have to move,
Yeah.
so I had to move and, keep my mind going. If I could actually run around Children's Hospital, which I ended up starting to do, I would have. That makes my mind, I get to focus. So I came back with the coffee, and if you see my husband, 45, big, muscular football player, he was in there bawling his eyes out. His brother, who is smaller than him, had his arms around him, holding my husband like a baby. I was backing out of the room with coffee in my hand. I know I spilled it on myself. And he was like, "We have to go to the oncology ward."
My
And I
God.
was like, "What's oncology? What's a Jesus oncology?" My grandmother.
Yeah. Cancer.
Yulina, Yuna, like I said my daughter's name, but
Yeah.
Yuna's my mother, my grandmother. I was like, oncology? Not, it's not, nah, Jesus. That's the only place, you know what my mind said? That's the only place they got room because Children's Hospital is very full, and that's the only place you have to go. That's the only room you have. He was like, "We have to go oncology ward, and they think it's cancer, and we just have to go." All my clothes, my suitcase, my son. I had so many things on my mind. And when I tell you, it was like the floodgates. Doctors, nurses, everybody was talking to me. And now I'm in a fog. I feel like I'm here and not here. I feel like I control. I that day I knew what my grandma told me. What control? God is in control. I had to just sit there. I had to surrender, and I just watched. And at a time, I think I went into a mode of like numbness and not feeling. And people came up to me, "Do you want to take this medicine? Because if this, he could take this, he could save a child, he could do this." I remember myself feeling like one of those bobblehead dolls. You know, when you shake it and it's just head goes, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." That's what I was doing. I was just shaking my head. And I remember talking to you, Sandra, and telling you about the percentages and what's going on. You said percentages? What? Who cares? Go on that computer and research. See what your son is having. What did they say? They didn't say yet. So we figured out that it was neuroblastoma. They said stage 2. When we looked, because my sister told me to research, right? When we looked on the computer, they were telling me all the parts of his body that are highlighted means he has that in cancer in that part. It looks like a bright light, right? Around the
Mm-hmm.
parts that have cancer. So I was like, okay, so I'm looking, and now I'm not a bobblehead. I'm not shaking my head. I'm asking questions. I'm focused. So I was like, what's that lighting up in his teeth? What's that thing lighting up in his teeth? It turned out to be neuroblastoma stage 4 cancer. When I tell you, I'm glad I woke up.
Yeah.
When I tell you, I became another nurse. I became another doctor. He said, "Yeah, you can't kiss it away, but you can learn it and you could
Yeah.
push." So they told me he had now from like, I think it was like 35 to like a 50-50. I don't do that. I don't do 50-50s. Can't is in the Fool's Dictionary, and I'm telling you, I will never say different. I've coached children. I will never say
Yes.
different.
Yes.
My Una again, my mother again, always told me can't is in the Fool's Dictionary. You cancel
Yep.
yourself out. I'm not canceling myself out. Oh, he has a learning disability. Oh, he's going to need to wear hearing aids. Oh, he's going to have surgeries upon surgeries. The first surgery, I I like I do miss myself, but I know I'm a stronger version of myself.
Amen.
Like I'm ooh, when I tell you I'm a strong, like I'm a fighter. This is the only thing that I could not physically punch. I could not whoop, but I like it's very different. It's a different place, but I did not give up, and I just was fighting for him. He was my eye, like he was me. That was my baby, you know?
Yeah.
So everything that they told me he couldn't do, I told
Mm-hmm.
him he could.
So that time was really a time of you reaching inside and really stretching yourself for your child. You had to get past of so many different things to be there and to be that strength for him, be that advocate for him?
I had to learn to be a fighter in a different way. I
Mm-hmm.
know that I'm a fighter, but I had to learn to be a fighter in a different way because that life was old. It's a new day. You fight for a new day. You fight for a new time and beginning. So in that struggle with cancer, I believed in God, what he said. I pray and meditate. So that's
Yeah.
what I did. Like I wrote Bible verses on my windows. So the people that were in the same triage waiting for a room, like they saw my Bible verses on there too. Like
Yeah.
God really just led me, and my son's eyes led me, my husband's eyes led me. We just really believed in seeing him through the future. So I talked this up. Like, I really believe in speaking things into existence. So I said, I'm going to see him go to prom. I'm going to see him be whatever he wants to be. I'm going to see him be married and have some children. I'm going to see him fight and do all the things that they said he couldn't. So
Yes.
that was my driving force.
Yeah. So let's talk about current day because, how long, and this is a question that I asked him, how long has he been cancer free?
He has been cancer free. Oh, see, when you don't think about stuff, but
Yes.
no, it's more than that, booby.
Like
It's
7 years?
it's more than 7 years. It's like, okay, yes. Oh, yes, since you were seven. It's been 7 years. You're right. Yes. Totally
Because he
cancer
did say,
free.
he said, I think he said 7. So that's a long time, and that's a lot of different things he has been able to do by the support of his family and the love of his family. So tell me how it feels as a mom raising this winner to see him play football.
This is SandyB, and I am excited that you are here and you chose to listen to this podcast so you can be encouraged and you can go get your wins because you too can be a goal getter. If you'd like to hear more, feel free to like, subscribe, and share. Download this podcast, share it with your friends, and leave a comment, leave a review. Hopefully, it's positive. We will definitely take those and just continue to allow yourself to plan and prepare and envision your 90-day wins. Enjoy.
Okay, so football. I love football.
Your family loves football.
Yes, I played football in the snow with the boys. So yeah, I loved football, but I seeing him go through that, I didn't want him to play. And what was weird was I remember praying and he used to ask me every year and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm trying. I don't think we found one," lying. I was lying. So I
Yeah.
prayed about it and God was like, "Your body's your temple. This is his life.
Hmm.
He it's his. I gave you him, but to raise him to do his life great, it's his life." So I was just like, oh my goodness. And then I looked back on pictures. He has pictures where he was rooting for the Giants with his dad when they won, and that's when he had his surgery. And I was just like, whoa, okay, dates, you see the dates on that. And I was like, okay, God, you're speaking to me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put him in. I ended up putting him into the Owls, and they didn't have his weight class. But the thing that I loved about it, they kept on talking about him. I love his work ethic. I love what I see him doing. And I was just like, whoa, and I was watching him and I was like, oh, okay, he can run. Like, mommy's a track star. Let's do this. So he kept running with me and, wrestling with his dad and running with his dad. So I was like, okay, wrestling. Let's do wrestling. You know, I I just saw him want to push himself.
Yeah.
If you're like, now I'm seeing your dream and you want to do it, well, I'm going to push you to your best ability. So we're going to run. We're going to wake up at different times. Sandra, I'm telling you, sometimes he wakes us up. And he's like, okay, aren't
Nice.
you ready? It's 6:30. I have my shake. I made some breakfast. You want some? Let's go. We're running. And
Awesome.
his motivation, like, that makes me want to go. That
Yes.
that drive. So I'm like, okay, I pushed it in you. Now you're pushing me even harder. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Like, you win, I win, we win. Let's go.
Amen. So, how do you think this winner, how has he encouraged his siblings? Because God has blessed you to have the two boys and the girl that you prayed and asked for. So, how is he encouraging the other kids in the home to be winners?
Well, Lukey had a bout with a heart condition. So Kenwar was like, you know what? That doesn't matter because I had cancer. So we both gonna do this. We got this. So he motivates his brother to work out and, eat right and figure out
Yes.
things that he wants to do. And, he's like, okay, so if you like chorus, be the best in chorus. So he joined the chorus. He pushed him to do those things, like
Yes.
he's always been that way. The doctor put Lukey in Kenwar's hand and told him he was supposed to take care of him. And that's what he's been doing. Like Lean Bean,
Awesome.
his sister Yulina, like he just loves her to pieces and he pushes her every day. Like, okay, I had a learning disability. We can do this together. We'll read together. You got to find books that you love to read. And then the other books that you don't like to read, you'll know their requirements and you'll do them. So, like, he's in his room on the computer with his sister, doing their work. And that's stuff that, I know you're doing your homework that you have to do, plus your extra work that you're pushing yourself to get better because the school that you're going to is going to be, tougher. He's
Yes.
and you're still helping your siblings. Okay, you didn't have to do it, but you did, and that's those little things that God's gonna reward you for. Like he he loves little things like that. He loves helping everybody. That's
Yeah.
his thing.
He's a goal getter. He is driven and focused about what he wants, and he is determined to put in the work to
Yeah,
get it.
he really
He is a special young man, and I am grateful to know that he is leading by example with his siblings and also to his friends. He shared about his friends on his team, and he's just a born leader. So I am so excited that you would take time to share with us and to share how you have raised winners, because all three of your children are winners, because you and your husband are committed to working with them and caring for them. And that's what your son was able to explain to the world, why he believes he's a goal getter, because he has the support of his family and his mom and dad who encourage him. So thank you again.
Thank you.
And I look forward to see all the amazing things Kenwar has going on, as well as you. Before I let you go, can you tell me a little bit of some of the things you have going on with your business? If you could share with the audience a little about your business and why you started your business.
Okay, so my business is Love Rising Inc. It's children helping children stomp out childhood cancer while strengthening their communities. What I do is get at risk youth together to help children with cancer. So we get together and we dance and we step and then we join into parades and, raise awareness. I want to start getting back to doing it even more. I know there has been a pause in it, but that's definitely what I want to do. Get the children back together, get them knowing that, the same thing. Like, I win, you win, we win. Like, we're working together to
Yep.
make things happen. Some things in our life are not things that we want, we welcome, but we can work through them to do better and be better. So that's what I love about having Love Rising in my life, having these children in my life. I tell them every time, like, they're more than conquerors and they've been doing some great things. So, I like seeing the project through, seeing these at-risk youth and seeing these kids with cancer see their win through. Yeah, what they really want. So it's
That's
great. Like, I
exciting.
really love being with the children, and my son loves helping the kids with cancer. He likes cooking for them. So we're gonna definitely continue doing that.
Well, I look forward to you sharing some more. And I tell every guest that we are about goal getters. So when you have a new project rolling out or some other things, you definitely let us know. If you could give us how we can get in touch with you with Love Rising, your social media, or how can people connect with you?
You can go to love_rising and it is on Instagram. Also, you can get in contact with me also through that same Instagram.
So that's fine. Well, thank you once again for being on the show and continue to raise winners because we all need to be encouraged, and our young people especially. I love hearing people that are really passionate about helping young people because it's very cliche, but it's so true. They are the future. And so it takes people with caring hearts and a love for seeing them grow. And that's exactly what you explained to us with raising winners and then also with your business Love Rising. So thank you again. And we look forward to hearing from you.
Come get your wins with the 90 Day Wins podcast, where we talk to goal getters. You can check us out at 90daywins.com. That's 90daywins with an S.com. That's our website where you can check out our blog, where we give more in-depth notes and conversation about the interviews with our goal getters. Also, you can check us out on social media, 90daywins.com. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. This is your host, SandyB, and I'm encouraging you to go get your wins every 90 days on the 90 Day Win podcast.